Welcome and sorry. Happy Friday, everybody. Welcome back to another Friday live stream with the boys from Maple Bitcoin. I'm Jor. These are my two good buddies, Forrest and Rajat. We're all matching even today. We're aligned. And as you can see in the chat here,
Oh yeah.
vibes are pretty low. So we're hoping to change that today. We might be spending the full hour talking people off the ledge, but we'll get through it. We'll get through it. So we're going to keep the vibes high today. We're going to talk about a bunch of different things going on that people are asking us about and in the chat. So it might be a little bit more interactive than usual in the chat, just because we like to go back and forth. And it might be a spicy one here, as Buck52 says right here. I like when the chat gets spicy. It might be a spicy show today. So we'll see. So how are you guys feeling right now? Where are you guys at?
Feeling good. I'm more bullish than ever, man. It makes me happy to see these prices. Our savings accounts are growing faster than ever, even though the fiat value is decreasing. The nominal value of Bitcoin is growing faster than ever.
Yeah, this is just kind of the same story, right? Like every time the price dips down like this, everybody there's that saying where bears sound smart, bulls make money. All the bears come out of hibernation when price goes like this, and they all want to say, "I'm right. See, I told you so. You could get sats for lower." Okay, are you buying? Because if you're not, then you're just talking, and it's nonsense. It doesn't matter, right? Because that's what these dips are. They're opportunities, right? And they're opportunities to stack more sats. As Rajat said, your savings is growing if you're stacking more sats. And like looking at the fiat price of things is fiat, right? Like, is your Bitcoin stack going up? Do you have more Satoshis today than you did yesterday? Like that's the number. Like if we're looking at numbers and we think numbers are important, that's the number that's important.
Yeah.
Because ultimately we know that the fiat price is inevitably going to go up because the fiat value goes down.
What was that saying, Forrest, you had? The bears?
Bears sound smart, bulls make money.
Yeah. I saw something yesterday pretty similar to that. It was it said pessimists get to be right and optimists get to be rich.
Yeah, same thing.
I like that.
Same thing, just worded differently.
Mm-hmm.
But
Hey,
it's true.
Change the QR code.
Oh yeah, sorry boys.
That's okay.
Trying to scam you guys out of some sats here.
But it's actually so funny though. Like people are so bearish right now. Everybody is so scared. Even looking through this chat, you can see people are scared. People are worried. They're thinking, "Oh, it's going lower." They're calling us idiots, and that's perfectly fine. We're okay with being idiots temporarily when over the long term we know that we're going to be right. There's nothing else that even compares to Bitcoin. No other asset compares. Real estate doesn't compare. Stocks don't compare. Actually, would you guys want to go through why Bitcoin is so much better than those assets?
Sure.
I think that's so important because people are saying, oh, yeah, you should own stocks. Everything else is a distraction. You should own real estate. So with real estate, number one, if you have a ton of wealth in real estate, then you can't move it around. Let's say somebody wants to take your land. You can't move it around. What are you going to do? How are you going to take your land with you if you need to leave the country? Right? And you have to maintenance, repairs. You have to deal with property managers. You have to deal with lawyers, realtors, property taxes, everything. All that stuff adds up, and it just makes your life hell. With stocks, you have these companies that are fully controlled by individuals who can make their own decisions. You have products and services that they're offering. Those products and services can get disrupted. Those there could be companies that come out with a better product or service, but nothing can compete with Bitcoin. Nobody else can create a better Bitcoin. It's like we were talking about last week. Bitcoin is the next Bitcoin. It definitely is. There is nothing that can compete with it. It doesn't matter what it is. It doesn't matter if it's Zcash or if it's XRP or Ethereum. Nothing competes with Bitcoin. It's the only thing of its kind.
And really the question there is then, people are really bearish right now against Bitcoin, but what else are you going to hold? Like, are you going to try to trade this thing? Because the volatility has increased like crazy, and the sharpest rises in price of Bitcoin happen when it's going down, because it'll bounce up on some news, some speculation. whales moving the price, leverage being liquidated, and then there being short leverage that wants to get liquidated. These moves are violent, right? So are you trading this? Do you have the emotional capability to do that? I highly doubt it, right? Like, if you think about the way you likely feel right now with this price movement, you're probably questioning your conviction. You probably feel a little bit of fear, unless you're, as bullish as Rajat, and you just are seeing, hey, this is great. I can buy more Bitcoin, right? Like, if you're fully over on that side, then that's different. But you probably have a little bit of fear, and that means that there's other people with a ton of fear, right? And fear is an incredible motivator and emotion. So, and it's an unpredictable type of emotion, and these emotions are fleeting. Like, any emotion is fleeting. You'll feel something, and the next moment you won't, right? These emotions are very fleeting. So you'll feel fear, you'll sell your Bitcoin, all of a sudden there's a rally, and you'll feel FOMO, like you're going to miss out, another type of fear. Then you'll jump back in, right? So these are the mistakes that people make during these moments. And ultimately, the best strategy, and this is just a general thing, but the best strategy is buying and holding long term and having a long term time horizon. And again, back to us discussing these other assets, what else can you hold with absolute certainty? Like, even Bitcoin treasury companies, right? There's outsized risk with them. Like, as we can see now, there's margin requirement changes on MSTR, right? That was something that somebody couldn't really predict happening to the degree that it's happened. There's the MSCI index changing definitions, or potentially doing that, right? So there's all these potential scenarios that don't really affect Bitcoin itself, but can affect these Bitcoin adjacent things. And so you de-risk yourself by just going into Bitcoin. And that's the case with any other asset. You look at any other asset, there's tons of unknown risk or known risk that makes them not worth holding above Bitcoin.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was actually talking to a guy. We started the show talking about how the fiat price is an illusion. And that was actually, I met with him this morning. I forget what country he was in, but he basically said, I respect your work. I respect everything you're doing. And he said, the one thing that really stands out, and how often you drive this home, is that it is just an illusion. Like, the fiat price is just a complete illusion. That's all that it is. And I think that another thing along those lines is, like Rajat was talking about real estate and stocks and all these different things. And I feel like Bitcoin is made for chaos. Like, everything is in chaos right now. And whether you're in the US or Canada or in any country, I'm guessing you have some sort of feeling inside of your stomach right now. Like, am I going to have to leave this place? Am I going to have to find somewhere else to go? Am I going to have to cross borders or hop on an airplane? And it's impossible. Bitcoin is the only asset that you can cross borders with a significant amount, which is huge. And that's the other thing he said, is like, the other thing that you talk about all the time is being able to move Bitcoin across borders. And I gave an example on my show of, like, you could literally write down 12 words in a book. Like, take a book off your bookshelf, write down every 50 pages, write down a word in your private key, put that book in your knapsack or your backpack, land wherever you're going, and you have all of your wealth with you in that book. You can't do that with anything else.
Yeah.
And that alone, so then when you think about these different things like that, it's like, the price is just an illusion. It's just telling you that not nearly as enough people understand what this asset is. That's all it's telling you. Because if everybody understood what Bitcoin was, I guess we'd be closer to 8 million than $80,000. That's just facts. So that part of it. And then it's like, if you look out to say 2100 to 2140, there's going to be one Bitcoin mine for those 40 years, there's one Bitcoin mined. And so if you kind of play this out long term, if you are really here for the generational wealth aspect of things here, you say, okay, well, if that's my thesis, this thing plays out, I'm set. Regardless of how many sats I have today, my family's going to be set for life. And the flip side of that is that if something did go wrong, if Bitcoin somehow did fail, what's the alternative? What would you rather be holding right now? Like, if Bitcoin fails, in my mind, we're toast. The entire world is toast, Bitcoin is the last chance we have to regain our sovereignty and our agency here. And so it's like the asymmetric, that's the asymmetric trade. Like the upside is unlimited. The downside is literally nothing, because if Bitcoin's ends up dead, then we're all toast anyway. So it's like, what would you rather be in?
Yeah.
So that's kind of what gives me, like, you know, a little bit of hope going into regardless of what the price is telling me.
One thing that I've noticed is just going based on what you're saying, most people don't quite understand that outsized returns will require volatility. The reason why we have this volatility is because it's inelastic. There's no elasticity in the supply. Nobody can change it. Nobody can increase it. The only reason why even the US dollar is the only reason why all these other assets are increasing in price is because the US dollar can just be inflated. There can be more dollars created. Every time somebody needs more dollars are created and pumped into the market. So what's happening right now, I don't know if you guys saw this, but there was a tweet that I saw from some, I don't know who it was, but people were basically talking about how BlackRock is sending Bitcoin to Coinbase. Did you guys see that by any chance?
No.
So what's happening here is BlackRock buys Bitcoin OTC, and then they sell it by dumping it into the market at spot price. So what they do is they sell as much as they can, and they sell it into the market. And I don't know exactly if that's exactly true. I just saw a post that showed they were depositing like 200 Bitcoin, 300 Bitcoin, $200,000 worth of Bitcoin, 200 or $100 million, whatever the amounts were. They were just depositing these huge amounts of Bitcoin on Coinbase, and then they were dumping them, of course, right? And when they're buying OTC.
Right.
Yeah.
This is a way to shake people out. Right. So what they're doing is when they're buying, they're not affecting the price, but when they're selling, they're fully affecting the price.
Yeah.
And
it's interesting.
It's leading to more and more people selling because they're scared, because they think that this thing is going to zero, because they're seeing this volatility. They're seeing it drop, like 35%. It's been a month and 11 days, a month and a half. And people can't handle this. But you have to understand that this thing is going to be very, very volatile. It's along the way, it's not like it's gonna go straight to $100 million. It's not gonna go straight to $500 million, right? It's gonna take time. The returns that you get are it's not gonna be easy. Have you guys read The Psychology of Money by any chance, the book?
Yep.
No.
So the returns from any asset, there's no free lunch. You pay for your returns by getting through the volatility.
Yeah.
That's the thing that most people don't want to get through. They don't want to get through that. They don't want to get through the volatility. Like people were saying, so somebody in the comments was saying, oh, $1 million isn't happening in 10 years. That sounds like it's right because, we're down 35%. But who would have predicted that Bitcoin is going to 81K a month after it hit the previous all-time high? Who would have predicted at 126K that it's going to 81K? Nobody. Nobody would have said that. If somebody is saying that they would have said that, then they're lying.
Agreed.
Yeah. And I don't know. Maybe this is conspiratorial, but it feels like something is like there's a lot of things lining up right now that are unfairly lowering the price.
I like conspiracies.
You mentioned the way that IBIT is potentially buying differently than selling, right? And they're doing that intentionally because they don't have to do that.
Yeah.
And there's other people selling openly on the market when they don't have to. Like,
yeah,
there's other ways of doing it if they didn't want to affect the price. There's the other thing I would just mention here too is Bitcoin is inelastic in its supply, but it's also incredibly liquid as a market. So you can sell Bitcoin, which the liquidity of a market is actually part of the usefulness of a market. So if you need to exchange your Bitcoin for fiat to cover something else, you can do that. That's a use case, actually. Everybody talks about gold being a store of value and comparing it to Bitcoin, but it's a much harder market to actually be able to liquidate your gold, especially if it's in self-custody, right? Like if it's GLD ETF shares, that's a different thing potentially, but you don't own that, right? That's just.
But it's still harder to get rid of.
Is it? Yeah, there's maybe
Well, I
bigger
would say
spreads.
just in the sense of like, if I wanted to sell sats right now and I have a community or a network of people, I could send them sats in 2 minutes and they could send me dollars in 5 minutes versus having to go through the whole process of like, getting somebody's permission if it's the weekend, whatever, you know what I mean? Like it's still more
Yeah.
liquid than that, even GLD.
Well, yeah, exactly. So GLD is listed on one exchange essentially, right? And whereas Bitcoin there's so many exchanges, centralized and peer-to-peer as well. So yeah, you have much, much more options. Yeah, so I mean that's a function. That's a use case.
Yep.
And I would just say that there's a lot of things leading up to where we are now where people need liquidity. Liquidity is tighter than
Yeah.
people had hoped that it would be right now. And there's potential reason for that, right? I think that there's, again, conspiratorial thinking. I think that there's certain people, nations, powerful individuals, institutions that want to accumulate assets, knowing that assets need to be revalued higher. And they're potentially trying to get those at as cheap as possible.
Yeah, like the thing that you need to understand is that we're gonna be here no matter what. I
Yeah.
don't care if Bitcoin goes
Yeah.
to 20K. I don't care if it goes to 10K. I'm gonna be here because I know that eventually it's not gonna be at these prices anymore. I don't know when it's gonna hit $1 million. I don't know when it's gonna hit $10 million. For all we know, it could happen in the next 5 years. After every retail investor has been shaken out, all these people who are leaving negative comments saying, "Oh, Bitcoin's a Ponzi scheme, it's a pyramid scheme." After all these people have been shaken out, who knows? Maybe it hits $1 million in 5 years. Maybe it hits 10 years. Maybe it takes 20 years. Who knows? But eventually it'll get to that point because nothing else competes with Bitcoin. Nothing else can do what Bitcoin does. You can't pay somebody else. Like let's say the QR code that we have on our screen. You can literally send Bitcoin to that in a second. And nobody can stop that transaction from happening. How do you do that with gold? You can't even do that with fiat.
No, you can't.
You need a bank.
Or you
Like,
got
if
to
you
spend $100 or something on it. You can't
Yeah.
do it 20 cents, 10 cents.
Right.
And you have to be allowed. You have to be allowed
Yeah.
to use the
Right.
fiat
You have to have a
rails.
bank.
Yeah. And there's, I mean, how many people around the world are unbanked? Yeah, Bitcoin's incredible. And it's, we look at it through our own perspectives of being able to, in Canada, send e-transfers easily. Oh yeah. Will you take an e-transfer when you're buying something? Yeah, sure. No problem. Easy. But it's not that easy around the world. It's not that seamless. And, yeah, people really undervalue the utility of Bitcoin. That's for sure.
Yeah.
It solves a problem for 8 billion people. Nothing else does.
Yeah.
Nothing else does.
Yeah, and I also want to reiterate that one point there that you started with, Rajat, is just that we're going to be here. Like this is nothing. Like I probably shouldn't have just said that, but like because I know people are hurting with this and stuff. But in the grand scheme of things, we will look back at this and think, yeah, this wasn't a big deal.
Like 5 years from now, today. Okay, I'm just gonna say the date because I feel like it's important to have these timestamps. It's November 21st, 2025 today. I have no idea what's gonna happen by November 21st, 2026. But I know that by November 21st, 2035, the price is going to be way higher than what it is today. People will be begging to buy at 150K. That's almost double what it is today. People will be begging to buy 0.1 Bitcoin at that price. So they'll be wishing they had bought Bitcoin at that price because at that point it won't be affordable for them. Like this is becoming an institutional asset because the retail investors have no clue what they're doing. They're selling their Bitcoin, they're giving it away because they can't get through the volatility. And institutional investors are taking advantage of that. That's exactly what they do. They will do that no matter what.
Dude, people will look back at this video. We might even get comments, in 2035 or whatever it was that the date you had, and say, man, you guys were so lucky to have Bitcoin at this price.
Yeah.
Like it'll not be, and that's exactly what I meant by perspective, right?
Yes.
Like perspective is everything in your life. Like we have our own individual perspective that's incredibly unique compared to anybody. Somebody can be standing right next to us and have a completely different perspective than us and be experiencing life incredibly different than us. So in 5-10 years, the perspective of this time frame will be much differently perceived than it currently is. And so you need to That's what having a long-term time horizon is putting yourself mentally playing a game where you put yourself in a perspective of somebody in the future and thinking about what are the opportunities today.
Yeah.
And to me, there's nothing in the market that is more of an asymmetrical bet, meaning a low risk, high return, high reward. There's nothing with those metrics that look like Bitcoin to me. Everything else has higher risk, lower return. Everything. It's really that
And
simple.
as this thing rotates out of the hands of retail, the floor gets stronger and stronger. It becomes more and more stable. You want a foundation that's made of granite, not a foundation made of sand. Usually
Yeah.
retail investors are sand. They
Yeah.
will sell at the first sign of fear. They'll sell at the first sign of the price going down. They don't really care about the asset.
They also
Institutional
don't
investors
understand it.
study this thing. They're going to want as much as they can, and that's exactly what they're doing.
Institutions know that. They know
They don't want the
that
price to go up in the short term.
No.
Institutions don't want the price to go up. Institutions want the price to go down, and that's why they buy OTC. Sorry,
Also-
Jory, you were about to say something there?
Yeah, well, a couple things, but the higher the price of Bitcoin goes, the less fiat is worth, and that's a problem
Yeah.
for these governments and these institutions, right? It's like there's only so much of it. They know from like a big picture perspective is like this thing can't run that quickly or run that high that quickly because it's going to have huge impacts on the rest of like society, basically, like legitimately. Because the higher the price goes, the more US dollars are flowing into this, and the worse the chart looks, the worse everything looks. The higher Bitcoin price goes in fiat terms, the less the dollar is worth, and that's exactly what they don't want to happen.
Yeah, there's a
Yeah.
coordinated effort by all fiat nations
Yeah.
that want their fiat to be worth more than it is, because everything trends to its cost of production, and fiat costs nothing to produce.
Yeah.
So there's the only thing that makes it worth anything is psychotic belief, mass psychosis that it is worth something. And the fact that the store that you buy something of real value of well, all value is subjective, but something more valuable than paper or digits in a screen, that gives it value. The fact that somebody else is willing to accept it.
Yeah.
And yeah, there's a massive to not think that there's a coordinated effort, a marketing team behind fiat is delusional to me, because there's a
because they need you to believe in it.
anything. Exactly. It's all belief.
need-
It's fiat, right? That's what that
It's
means.
pure belief. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's pure belief. Like, okay, I wanted to pull this chart up because you can see here in the past month, Bitcoin is up 30%, or sorry, US dollar is up 30% in purchasing power. You're literally saying that these pieces of paper can buy more things, that they can buy more of Bitcoin, and they can be printed out of nothing. That's temporary. If we take a look at, let's say, okay, so year to date, US dollars are ahead, but 1 year, US dollars are ahead too. 5 years, take a look at this, down 78%. This is what the bears are celebrating, right? If you go max, you can't even see the change. It's not even there. And like okay, so this is, people are probably going to tell, a lot of people are going to say in this comment, and they're probably thinking, keep in mind that I've gone through this, I've had these comments before, and that's why I can predict what people are going to say. People are going to say, oh, you didn't buy Bitcoin in 2015 though, you didn't buy Bitcoin in 2010, you didn't buy Bitcoin in 2017, 2018. In 10 years, like I mentioned before, November 21st, 2035, we'll zoom out and we'll look at the last 10 years, and it'll look exactly the same like this. From November 21st, 2025 till November 21st, 2035, it'll look exactly like this. The US dollar will be down 100% because you have to round the US dollar. You have to round it up because it's worthless. It's worth nothing.
Yeah, there's not enough not enough decimal points to make it not 100%.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like you can't even see the bump. It's gone. Like I said, this is what the fiat people are celebrating.
Mm-hmm.
It's up 44%. after going down how much? After going down 84%, 84.7%.
That's 5 years. Yeah.
Yeah, 5 years. Wild.
Yeah, it's just, there's the original title of today's show was Legends Are Made During Times Like These, and it's true. And I think that it's good. You kind of have to go through these things as a Bitcoiner to become a Bitcoiner. It's pretty easy to buy Bitcoin when the price is running up and everybody's happy and you think you made the right trade. But these are the weeks and the months where, hardened Bitcoiners are made. And the more hardened Bitcoiners that are made, the more people are fighting over those scarce units called Satoshis. And the less likely they are and less willing they are to actually part with those. So the whole supply and demand aspect of this long term, it makes so much sense. But the one thing I'd say is don't take this week and change your whole strategy around what you've been doing, whether you've been smash buying or DCAing or whatever. It's always easy to look back and say, oh, I wish I would have done this a little bit differently. But to me, any day, any week, any month, any year, I would rather hold Bitcoin than fiat. It doesn't matter what else is going on, what the price says, anything. For me, I would rather have sats in cold storage than money in the bank account or stocks in the stock account. I would always rather have Bitcoin. It doesn't matter what's going on. So I just feel like there's so many people who are going to try to do something or change something or try to get cute and do something else. And it's just just relax. Just hold on for dear life here. This is what it's supposed to be like.
There's that strategy. What is it, like the dead man's portfolio or something?
Oh, yeah.
Where they kind of did a study of performances, and people that forget they have a portfolio or literally pass away and don't have access to be able to move positions outperform people that are way more active, right? And I think the other thing here too is, when the ETF was launched, I remember the news was all about, oh, well, the wirehouses aren't selling the ETF yet. Wait until Morgan Stanley starts selling this to their clients. And it's been, that happened in the beginning of 2024. I think a lot of this stuff still hasn't happened. And the reason for that is it's intentional that these institutions move incredibly slowly with what they do and what they position. And they don't just react all of a sudden. Okay, Bitcoin's down 5, 10, 20% in a short period of time. That isn't changing anything fundamentally to this long-term horizon that real capital allocators have. So I would just reiterate what George said there is this shouldn't make you panic to either buy more or to sell or to reallocate or do. You should just focus on relaxing, recognizing that yes, Bitcoin is on sale. Maybe start looking into, okay, well, does this mean that I should smash buy? Should I dollar cost average? Start contemplating the things you can do and what that might end up looking like in the future, those actions. But you should be very cautious with any actions surrounding your wealth, really.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's crazy that people they sell these lows and then they think that's going to go even lower. But when it does, they're probably not going to end up buying. One of my friends, when Bitcoin was at right after FTX collapsed, Bitcoin went to 15,700. One of my friends was saying he's going to buy at 11K, and it never happened, and he never bought because he's anchored to that price.
Yeah.
And he doesn't want to buy lower than that. He doesn't want to buy higher than that. A lot of people in the comments are exactly like that. People are saying 70K, 75K, 74K, 72K, 60K, 50K, 37K, whatever numbers they come out of, they just shit them out. I don't know how they think of them, but these numbers, they make them up. They have this thought in their mind that it's going to go there. And if it doesn't go there, then they continuously think it's going to go lower. It's like what Peter, I don't know if you guys saw it, but Peter Schiff had a debate with Raoul Pal.
I didn't see that one.
That was a while ago, wasn't it?
That was a while ago. I remember what he said. He said he could have bought 50,000 Bitcoin for $1 each. 50,000. He would have had $4 billion today.
Yeah.
But instead, he let his ego stand in the way. He believed that this thing is going to zero, and he can't let go of that belief.
Yeah, that's a problem.
It's exactly the same thing with the 4-year cycle. People think that, oh yeah, the 4-year cycle has to happen. It has to happen. But what if you're wrong? What if it doesn't happen?
Yeah, I am so not a believer in the 4-year cycle. It's connected more to the business cycle than anything. The business cycle has shifted, right? Typical business cycles are 4 years, and it happens to correlate with Bitcoin halving and whatnot. I think the halving has less impact. And the other thing I would just remind people is, if this year ends up red, then the 4-year cycle is invalidated. This is the third year, right? This should be a green year if the 4-year cycles are intact. And if it's red, then it's invalidated. It's not invalidated the way that many people would like to see, 4 green years, right? But it's still invalidated. And I think that will ultimately be good for Bitcoin as well, because the 4-year cycle is a reinforcing narrative, which draws people out. And maybe that's part of this selling pressure too. I don't know. But I think once it's invalidated and confirmed that it's invalidated, then people will stop with that narrative, which would be good for Bitcoin.
Yeah, it just doesn't make any sense anymore. It made a difference when we cut from 50 to 25 and then 25 to 12, but it's like we're cutting from 6 to 3. That's not that big of a difference. I'm kind of going through the chat here and highlighting some pictures for us to kind of go through here, because there's a lot. Maybe I'll just bring a couple up here. I'll keep going with it. We can, are you guys good with that if we just kind of go through a couple comments?
Let's do it.
Yeah.
Sure.
First thing, I want to give a lot of props to the people over on Nostr watching the stream right now. There's 25 people over there, 25 legends, I should say. But we got Letha. She's up to 1,000 sats for the boys. Cannon's up 420 and said, we used to pray for this kind of dip. Now they're fearful. Keep stacking. Sin Diesel zapped 18 and then 45. Thanks, Sin. Matt FRL zapped 369 sats. Plural zapped 52 and Cannon zapped another 1K sats. Said, I had to get out of the YouTube chat. Troll got my blood pressure up. Well, you're in the good place in Nostr there. So first one here, boys. Where was it? I had a good one. Oh, there's a couple super chats here. I didn't even see those. There's not really questions with them though. It says, who is selling today and under what pressure? What's CZK?
Check. Is that some
Czech kroner or something? I don't know. I have no idea. I don't know what currency.
Oh yeah.
It doesn't really matter. It doesn't matter who's selling. All that matters is that there's temporarily more supply than the amount of Bitcoin that's demanded. That's it.
Yeah, and it's probably a broad market of people as well that are selling. There'd be leveraged traders selling. There'd be people who panic or FOMO bought near the top. They're saying, well, this could go way lower. I'm just going to cut my losses.
Imagine doing that.
Oh. Yeah. There's, again, broader market fears. This, again, very coordinated fear campaign around strategy happening right now. People are probably saying, well, if strategy ends up selling, like there's speculation, like, okay, strategy is going to have to sell their Bitcoin. That means the market's going to tank. I'm going to sell now instead. Right. There's all sorts of crazy stuff. I would say that's crazy, that narrative. Yeah, it's a broad thing.
What's the scoop with strategy right now, Forrest? You're pretty in tune with the strategy stuff. Like they're nowhere near like liquidation or margin call or anything like that, eh?
There is no margin call. I mean, essentially, they have a very small amount of debt relative to the capital of their Bitcoin. And that's the convertible bonds they have. Everything else is actually equity. So even their preferred shares, some of them have stipulations where there's sort of penalties to not pay the dividends.
Right.
But they are all within their right to not have dividends, considering it's not a debt obligation. It's an equity that pays a dividend. So, worst case, they just don't pay it, which is highly unlikely. And the amount of payments that they have are incredibly low compared to the value of their holdings. So Bitcoin could stay the same, or if it went up, I think there was a post where if their Bitcoin holdings went up by 1 0.25%, something like that, that would account for all of the cost of capital that they have.
Wow.
Because
you
of
say that
the
again? Sorry, I kind of missed that.
I'll actually
I
find
know.
the
I think I know what
tweet.
you're talking about. I've seen that.
I'll find the
So if,
tweet so I have the real numbers. But
so if their Bitcoin holdings grow by a certain percentage, then all their preferred dividends are paid for.
yes, or not necessarily paid for, but more so like accounted for by the raise. So if you're just thinking about balance sheet, right? The balance sheet goes down when there's payments, right? When they have to pay money out, but the balance sheet goes up when their assets go up as well. So to offset the balance sheet depreciation of the cost of capital, the payments to their debt and to their preferred equity, their Bitcoin balance would have to go up 1% or something around that to offset the cost of capital.
Wow. Yeah, that's like 700 million or something. Whatever the value of their Bitcoin is.
Yeah.
Somebody here said Tim Johnson Pool. It's one of the starred comments. He said, "You
Oh.
guys are more wrong than could possibly be imagined." I'm happy that you have this belief, Tim, because it means that people like you are either selling Bitcoin and you're bringing the price down, or you don't have any Bitcoin and you have never bought it and you just have an opinion. Everybody's welcome to their opinion. That's perfectly fine. But if you haven't ever sent a Bitcoin transaction, then your opinion is pretty much irrelevant. Most people haven't. That's the thing. Most people have never sent a Bitcoin transaction. I don't know which part you're referring to here when you say that we're wrong. Maybe you're referring to us saying that Bitcoin is going to $1 million eventually. Maybe you're saying that Bitcoin is going to go lower in the short term, and that's perfectly fine. That's how the market works. That's how markets are built. Markets are built with buyers and sellers. They're not built with people sitting on the sidelines. If you're willing to say that Bitcoin is going lower, why don't you short it?
Yeah. Yeah. Tim Pool. He's got the same name as that podcaster guy. Yeah, I mean, it's just not correct. I mean, yeah, I'd like to hear what we're wrong about, really. But
yeah, even VHF, he's saying here, you guys were wrong. To be fair, what were we wrong about? It's up. It's up since the last low.
Yeah.
The last low, it was at 74K.
Don't
now
feed the bears.
But what are we wrong about? Like, because people think that because they put some lines on a chart and they predicted that this is going to happen, that they know the future. But how do you know that you're not lucky?
yeah, I think people are just upset, right? Like people are
Yeah.
upset by the price and they want somebody to blame, and they're going to blame people who are bullish on Bitcoin. And it's again about time frames, right? Like, I mean, I kind of thought Bitcoin would be closer to 125 by the end of the year, but I made a video January 1st of 2025 talking about my bear base and bull cases for Bitcoin. And my bear case was 58K. Like that's in the realm of possibilities. And that was part of the sort of the 58K gang meme, but it's it's a highly unlikely, but there's probabilistic calculations or percentages that you could basically guess at these prices going to, right? It's all possible.
It's all nonsense. It's all an illusion. And it's actually a good point over here in Noster from Sabian. And big shout out to Lightfast. They zapped us 1,000 sats and said forward. But Sabian said there's no... Hold on, let me take this dipshit off the screen. Sabian said there's no money going anywhere. Everything is based on negotiable interests, either promises to pay or orders to pay at someone in the future, which never happens. Only Bitcoin, gold, and silver are money by law. I mean, very well said.
Yeah.
And it's one of those things, like we're all talking about the price. There's no price of Bitcoin. It's how many fake dollars you can trade for sats. And it fluctuates because there's such a misunderstanding of this asset. Like it's really not that hard to figure out.
Yeah. I wanted to show like what would happen if you had dollar cost averaged into Bitcoin. So, So this is the very top. So I'll show you. The very top was November 9th, 2021. That was when it hit like 69K. Let me show you guys. So you can see here. If we zoom in, 69K, somewhere around here, 68 to 69K. So the high, let's see here. Where's the date? November 9th. November 9th, it hit 68,564.
Mm-hmm.
If you had started dollar cost averaging then, and you kept going until today, you go weekly, you kept buying $100 worth of Bitcoin every week, you would be up 117%.
Can you switch the page?
Oh, sorry. So if you started dollar cost averaging November 9th, 2021, kept dollar cost averaging until today, $100 every single week, you'd be up 117%. If you did bi-weekly, you'd be up 115%. Semi-monthly, you'd be up 116%. Monthly, you'd be up 115%.
Wow.
If you just made one purchase, like most people aren't doing that. Most people aren't just going all in on Bitcoin at the very top or at any price. People are consistently buying. They're consistently buying. If you're just buying once, then I mean, it could work out. But even if you buy all at once, you're probably going to continue buying at least a little bit, because if Bitcoin goes from, let's say, 69K all the way down to 15K, I'm sure you made at least one buy. So if you just kept dollar cost averaging, and that's our message, just keep buying. Short term, the price doesn't matter. Just keep buying, because over time, this is the kind of return you'll see. What else gave you a 117% return in the last 4 years? What did the S&P 500 do? Let's see. So SPY, I'll share my screen here. What was it, 4 years? So last 4 years, October or November 9th. In the last 4 years, it's up 41%. While Bitcoin, what's Bitcoin up, like 30% or something like that?
Yeah,
But
and
keep in mind,
everybody understands the stock
massive
market.
volatility. Sorry, go ahead.
I was just going to say, and everybody understands the stock market. So I would say that it's not only fairly valued, but it's extremely overvalued because of how much forced buying they have through things like retirement funds, and just because nobody knows anything other than the stock market. So it's like it's incredibly overvalued.
Yeah,
it's a really good point that there is no passive buyers of Bitcoin except people dollar cost averaging. Like there's no retirement accounts that are, I mean, well, maybe a little bit now with the ETFs, kind of.
Yeah,
There
minor
might be
though compared to.
Yeah, incredibly minor compared to the passive index monster of the S&P.
Okay, there's another question here that I wanted to. I mean, this is just such a great point here from Gronky Tonk. It's like the people mad about the price right now are the ones who are over leveraged and getting wrecked. It's absolutely true. And I saw another comment here from somebody saying that they rotated out of strategy and into Bitcoin. You know, it's like my advice during times like this is literally just to do nothing. I know, because I've been through it myself. Like in the last couple of days, I'm like, okay, how can I restructure things so it makes more sense? What do I think is going to go up? What do I think is going to go down? And it's like, I know nothing. I know what I'm holding here in Bitcoin, and I'm just going to sit on that because I know in the long term, I'm going to win this trade. And if I try to do too much, I'm probably going to lose. Every time I've tried to do too much in terms of trading and investing, I've always lost 100% of the time.
Little clarification there. That's BTCI. That's an income-oriented Bitcoin ETF.
Same thing, though.
Holds 95% treasury bills, so not quite. Yeah.
Sorry, I just did a quick calculation in the background. So if I'm going to share my screen here. So if you had bought Bitcoin, I just want to prove my point here, I guess. So if you had bought Bitcoin over the last 4 years from November 9th, 2021 till today, you put $100 per month into it, you'd be up 117%. If you had done the exact same thing with the S&P 500, S&P 500 DCA calculator, you see here, calculate, you'd be up from 4,700 to 6,800. So you'd be up 19.61% per year. What is that in total? Like 55, 60. Let me do the calculation here. So it wouldn't be as much as Bitcoin. That's for sure. So 68, 62 divided by 4,700, you'd be up 46%. This is why volatility works to your advantage. Because when Bitcoin falls, you get to buy more.
Yeah.
It helps you.
It does. A lot of people holding Bitcoin are acting like they're retired, like they don't have any income, and that all of their wealth is in Bitcoin, and this is a major problem to them that they have because they have to sell it to fund their retirement lifestyle.
Yeah.
If that's the case, then yeah, volatility is going to be a risk to you, short-term volatility. And that's why a lot of retired people have much crappier returning portfolios to avoid the short-term volatility risk.
Yep.
If that's not the case and you're at, our age or around that, where you're in your income earning years, you need to be in growth in some way. And
Yeah.
as we've talked in earlier this show, there's no better risk return metric out there. Like, I don't know, the competitive risk, like the other people could talk about, well, what about AI? AI just, there's going to be so much competitive risk. There's so much unknowns about the value proposition of these things. Yeah, like, good luck. You'll probably, I mean, AI is definitely going to be part of our future. It's an emerging technology that's incredibly important and going to provide a lot of value. Good luck guessing the right stock, I guess.
Exactly. And even
Yeah.
so, playing out the AI theory, if everything becomes either very cheap or free, Bitcoin, in my eyes, is the only thing that's immune from AI.
Yeah, and it's almost like a sort of the barbell portfolio at this point is AI and Bitcoin, right? And then Bitcoin being that counter of not being affected by the by what AI is going to disrupt. Essentially, AI will not disrupt Bitcoin, in my opinion.
Yeah, but what about quantum? Actually, no. Quantum, I think at some point in the future, we're probably going to have a chat about quantum, because I just don't understand it enough. And there's a lot of people who are feeling kind of worried about it. And maybe there's something there. So I think that, the three of us should kind of take a little bit of time and maybe scratch the surface. I'm sure you guys have before, but I just think it'll be a longer conversation than what we're going to do today.
Yeah, I would just quickly say that quantum at this point is theoretical, so all you can have is theories about it. Like, there's a couple qubits that are being able to be computed, nothing monumental at this point, so everything is theoretical. And anybody saying that the quantum's 5 years, 10 years, 2 years away, that's a theory. That's a real big theory. So I would just,
Weren't people saying that like 15 years ago?
yeah, of course. Yeah. So same thing. And oftentimes people that are talking up the effects of quantum are trying to sell you either a quantum stock or
Yeah.
a quantum crypto. So you just want to be cautious of that.
Or a quantum wallet.
Yeah. 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 The Safe 7 quantum ready, whatever the hell that means.
I wanted to bring this up here for a sec. It's actually a super chat from Kamikazen. $1.99 said, I try to convert 3 people a day to Bitcoin. It's one of those things too. And I made a post about this on Nostr last night. I said, like, it's funny that when things are good and Bitcoin's running up, if you told somebody, like in this case, you converted somebody to Bitcoin, when the price is running up, nobody really texts you and says, thanks for getting me into Bitcoin. It was their decision to do it. Right. But on the flip side of things, when Bitcoin's crashing and you were the one who converted them into Bitcoin, you're the only person that they think about. It was your idea. It wasn't them. So I would just be kind of cautious in terms of like trying to convert people into Bitcoin. I think this week's shown that it can be a nightmare of texts and emails and things from people. It's like, it's just not really worth it. Focus your time instead on the people who already understand Bitcoin and who want to learn more and who want to collaborate with you and build the future, versus trying to convince people that they need to hold Bitcoin. That'd be my advice. I mean, it's good, good efforts there, but it's just, I've noticed that it's just not really worth your time and energy. And it always comes back to bite you in the ass. There's no real upside with it.
There's no way we're in a bear market right now, because I haven't gotten the text from my brother saying, what's up with my coins, bro?
Yeah,
we're going way lower for that to happen.
no doubt.
Yeah.
Any more? Did you guys see any more comments here that are starred that you wanted to talk about? I got to get rid of Timmy Pools there. Oh, I want to give a shout out to Mark here. Mark's a gold guy in the UK. Mark in the UK. He's always leaving some love on the videos and stuff for us. So big shout out to Mark here. He said, this still isn't a 40% correction. I've been here a few times before. This is what Bitcoin does.
Yeah.
There's a veteran speaking. So thanks, Mark, for the comment and for all the support. I mean, this is another thing too. Like, I feel like these times are just all about lessons being learned. Count von Borg says, I had a nice amount of Bitcoin, but got greedy and converted 20 million sats into altcoins. Stupid speculation and lesson finally learned. It's like, you know, we do these live streams every week. We share videos every week on the channel. We're trying to talk people out of getting altcoins and getting into Bitcoin. It's like, people don't really learn until they touch the stove. And this week is the stove that people are touching right now.
Yeah. I want to share this quickly. I feel like this is really important. During bull markets, the price comes down. You may not have noticed it, but sometimes it comes down. It doesn't just go straight up. Nobody who is serious about this thing thinks that the price will just go straight up. Everybody
who the 2017 timeframe, does it show the timeframe on that?
2015 to 2017.
Yeah.
But like nobody who's serious about this thinks the price is going to go straight up. Like if you think that, oh, these people are to be blamed because I took on leverage and now my stack is down and they told me it's going to go to $1 million. If you think that we're to blame for that, you don't understand what Bitcoin is. You don't understand what you own. The message that we try to send is keep stacking, keep buying, use this opportunity to buy more, especially.
Oh, you're muted, Rajat.
I don't know what happened there, but
your mic is switched as well.
Oh, is it? Oh no.
Yeah.
Let me switch it up.
Unplugged, maybe.
Is it working now?
Yeah, you're good.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So I'm not planning to use my Bitcoin for the next 10 years, 15, 20 years, whatever it is, unless like it goes up like crazy. And then maybe I'll sell a little bit, pay for my lifestyle. But even then, my plan is to just borrow against it. I don't care if it goes down in the short term. If it goes down 40, 50, 60%, I'm buying more. It just means the purchasing power of my wealth has gone up. Jor, you have that chart where you share the purchasing power of $500. If let's say if Bitcoin's price is at 500,000, $500 will get you, what is it, 500 satoshis or something like that? Or
Oh
no,
yeah.
not
Yeah.
500.
I actually think that's a really, yeah. I started doing this actually in the last couple of days. Speaking of that, Rajat, because it's like, I think a good exercise that all Bitcoiners can do right now is take inventory of what you have. Like take a look at what you actually have, and don't just look at the numbers. But I think Forrest was talking about this earlier. Like put yourself in the future where you're actually going to be using those, right? Because then you get past what the price is today. It's completely irrelevant what it is today. If you're under the theory that we are, that eventually one day, one sat will have the purchasing power of today's dollar, then you can start to kind of map things out. Okay, this is what I'm going to use to lend against in the future. Maybe this is my insurance for the future. Maybe I'm going to buy this with this UTXO or whatever that is. And I think it just gives you a lot of hope, and it changes your whole perspective and takes you out of now. It takes you out of the illusion and puts you into the world that makes a lot more sense, where a lot more people understand Bitcoin, and Bitcoin's worth a lot more in terms of the purchasing power of it versus today's.
Yeah.
It's a good exercise to do. I would highly encourage it, especially if you're somebody who, like me and Forrest and Rajat, don't have like a salary coming in. I just kind of listed all the different ways that I, make money in my life and what I plan on using those sats for. And, I think I had one of them as like our Maple Bitcoin Fund is like my legacy and kind of like an empire for my family. And it totally changes your perspective. You don't look at it as like, say, $10,000 anymore. It's like, this is going to buy something substantial whenever I want to use that in the future. It just completely changes your whole perspective around it.
Yeah. Oh, Jay Herboyven. So I said 500K. At 500K, $500 will buy you how many? I think I said like 5,000 or something. It's actually only 100,000 satoshis today. $500 will buy you. How much would $500 buy you today? It'll buy
in US,
you
like
in US, yeah,
600,000 sats, 550,000 sats.
Yeah. So today you're getting 600,000 satoshis for these same dollars. Whereas when Bitcoin is 500K, and again, people would probably think that I'm stupid for saying this. At that point, you only get 100,000 satoshis. That's because Bitcoin runs out at every price. No matter what the price is, the people selling Bitcoin at those prices run out. They don't want to sell at that price anymore. Who knows what the bottom for this will be? But I personally think that it'll be higher than 15K. I think it'll be higher than 20K. I think it'll be higher than 30K. But then we have all those people who bought Bitcoin with the ETFs. We have MicroStrategy buying hundreds of thousands of Bitcoin. Where did that Bitcoin come from? It came from people who were willing to sell it. Eventually, whatever that Bitcoin was bought at will be a rounding error. At some point, I like we keep saying, refer back to this in 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, whenever. At some point, 84K will be a rounding error. The price will
Mhm.
move by that much. First of all, it'll move by that much in a year. Then it'll move by that much in a month. Then it'll move by that much in a week. Then in a day. At some point, 84,000 will seem like, oh, it didn't even move today,
Yeah. Legit. Like it's
right?
I think it's when Bitcoin hits $1 million. That's when I think we're going to stop pricing it in Bitcoin terms and we switch to sats, because that's when one
Yep.
sat equals 1 cent.
Yeah.
And so then when one sat goes to 2 cents, essentially Bitcoin moved from 1 million to 2 million behind the scenes. Like, could you imagine that?
Yeah. That's crazy.
Was this
Yeah,
the
it's
chart you
gonna
were
be
talking about,
crazy.
Rajat? That we,
Yeah, this is the one.
yeah. So actually, I talked about this again today. So this is something I've been doing on my daily stream every morning, as we do a smash buy based on kind of where the price is. If it's been down a lot, as you can see here. So when the price is up, then we buy a little bit less during the show. When it's down, we buy more. But that's exactly what I said today. Like I couldn't find a way to do this, but like if you can look at this, see, it wouldn't even let me do it again. But essentially what I said was you're basically trading $21 today for $14,595 in the future. Today I traded $25 from today for $21,000 in the future. That's at a point where one sat equals $1, which again, if you subscribe to the theory, if you understand what's happening here, that's inevitable. It's not if, I guess, but when. So that's essentially what the trade is today. You're trading 25 units of illusion, or $25 for $21,000 in the future. 21 units, or 21,000 units of freedom, FUs we call them. Shout out to Scotty. So these are units of illusion. That's exactly what they are. And these are units of freedom, FUs.
There's Tim said everyone knows what Bitcoin is by now. This isn't groundbreaking info.
Oh my God.
Who knows what Bitcoin is? If you talk to the people around you, who knows what Bitcoin is?
Most people that have Bitcoin or own claims to Bitcoin don't know what Bitcoin is.
Yeah.
So not even the people that are exposed to it understand Bitcoin.
Yeah.
That's the craziest comment of the day. I didn't see it, but that's the craziest comment of the day.
I don't know.
At 258. Highlight that one. Show that one on the screen so people can see it in 10 years.
Okay, so I'm still at 124 for my. When was that? Just recently?
258.
I think Tim just wants to be on the big screen. He's probably texting his mom right now. Holy shit, there's a lot of comments here.
If you guys can't think any deeper than this, you're going to be running out of content immediately.
Oh.
It's crazy.
Where's that other comment?
It's higher up.
258.
It's like 6 comments up, something like that.
Everyone knows what Bitcoin is by now. No, they don't.
Oh yeah.
No, they don't. Nobody knows what Bitcoin is. That's why it's dropping so fast. If everybody knew what Bitcoin was, and if everybody knew, okay, so let's think of it this way: if everybody knew what Bitcoin was, it would mean that they would know what the U.S. dollar is. How many people can even explain to you that the U.S. dollar, why prices go up? They'll say corporate greed.
Yeah. The other thing too is like Bitcoin's having an incredibly volatile moment right now. Something that everybody understands does not act volatile in the market. It is priced. Yeah. It is priced near what it's worth at that point. When Bitcoin moves violently up and violently down, it's because people don't know how to price it. That's what that is, right? People are saying this is worth way less, or people are saying this is worth way more, right? Yeah. That's what that action is. So no, people do not understand it.
What would you guys say out of the global population right now? Not how many people own Bitcoin, not how many people own an ETF or even have sats in a wallet somewhere. How many people do you think actually understand Bitcoin to the point of like they could understand the proof of work, they could understand the difficulty adjustment, they could understand why Bitcoin's actually decentralized and therefore why it's actually going to stay at 21 million forever? What percentage you guys would put at? I would say it's way less than 1%.
Yep.
0.01%.
Max.
Yeah.
If people, so I named my stream Bitcoin is going to 0 or at infinity. If everybody understood what Bitcoin is, it would be at 0 or it would be at infinity.
Yeah.
Because if everybody understood it, either it's been revealed as a Ponzi scheme, or it's been revealed as the best money in the world. In terms of US dollars, Bitcoin is either going to zero or infinity. And I think that infinity is where it's going when people figure it out.
Ga says, if no one understands it, it will never go up. I mean, like, just take a look around. Like, honestly, from the conversations that I have, from the people that I hang out with, there's literally people joining every day. There's more people understanding this every day. And the thing is, I know I talk about this a lot, but that's my green light theory, is that once people understand it, they never ununderstand it. So it's like one person could join the network per day. One person could understand Bitcoin and have their green light come on. And that number is only going in one direction. It's never going down. That chart would never go down of people who understand Bitcoin.
So there's lots of people who buy Bitcoin every day that don't understand it. And those people are going to become sellers at some point.
Yeah.
So, but the people who do understand it, that come on board, that have the green light turn on, they're going to hold it much longer, much more. And they're just added to the current network of people that anytime fiat comes into their life, they're acquiring more Bitcoin. And Bitcoin isn't getting more abundant as time goes by. It's actually getting much more scarce. So there's 450 Bitcoin released every day from the Coinbase, right? The total amount of 21 million Bitcoin. But how much is lost? I've talked to a handful of people now in client sessions, and they've proved to me that they've lost Bitcoin, right? And that's just out of people that are reaching out to me. There's tons of people who are too embarrassed to talk about the Bitcoin they lost, or maybe it's not super meaningful at this point, the amount they lost.
Yeah.
There's tons of Bitcoin being lost, and that is taking out of circulation indefinitely, right?
Yeah. They're going to demand for more. If they ever go to sell it, they're going to demand more for it because they understand what it is.
Exactly.
Anybody selling right now is either doesn't understand Bitcoin or they have to pay for things in their life. That's the only two options, right? Because if you understand Bitcoin, you know it's worth a hell of a lot more than what they're telling you right now. Yeah. And the reason, it's not that they're telling you that, it's just that Bitcoin is so misunderstood. It's so mispriced, essentially, because value does not equal price. That's kind of the message that we're trying to get across here, I think.
Yeah. I wanted to share, can you share my screen there?
Yep.
It's actually pretty, this shows you that not everybody understands Bitcoin. So you can see here, 2014, we had 1 million users on Coinbase. 2015, 2 million, 2016, 5 million, keeps going up. 2021, 58 million. 2024, there were 105 million users on Coinbase. The number keeps going up. That means that not everybody understands what Bitcoin is. That's just proof right there.
True. And the other thing there is, if you understand what Bitcoin is, you're probably leaving Coinbase.
Yeah.
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 But
the number of people who are understanding it are leaving it. And then the people who don't understanding are going into Coinbase. So exactly what you said there. Yeah.
What about the monthly active users? I'd be curious about that information.
Monthly. Oh yeah. Monthly active users. There you go.
So it's going up too.
Yeah. It's going up from 0.7 million to 10.8 million.
Interesting.
Coinbase's valuation wouldn't be going up if everybody understood Bitcoin. It'd be like a bank.
Yeah.
It'd be like moving sideways just based on inflation.
They don't want people to understand Bitcoin because then nobody would sell it.
Yeah. Exactly.
Nobody would give it to them for $83,000 or whatever people are selling it at today. There's no chance.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. It's wild.
Coinbase, yeah, that's right.
We're scared of this. Like this should be an opportunity. This is like we said in the beginning of this show. Our treasury has been growing faster than ever because of this.
Mm-hmm.
In 10 years, you're not going to remember this dip to 81K. You're going to remember the rise to 1 million, 2 million, 5 million, 10 million. That's what you're going to remember. That's what you're going to be thinking about.
Yeah, it's true. We're short-term thinking as a species, and this kind of stuff. Like, we look back with rose-tinted glasses all the time. Like, we don't remember the pain as painful as it was in the moment. So we will. Yeah, we'll be feeling good when Bitcoin goes up, and we'll be forgetting about this dip to whatever this dip will. Whenever the bottom is actually reached at this dip here. There was one other comment I wanted to address real quickly, which is Buck 52,000 said something along the lines of like, you get Bitcoin at the price you deserve, which is an interesting concept, because a lot of people are getting Bitcoin, like they're buying Bitcoin. A lot of the short-term buyers was near the 120 range, right? And you got to think about what was causing them to buy at that time. They were buying into hype. They were buying into the price action going up, right? And they're buying when it's the easiest time to buy emotionally, because
Yeah.
it's really exciting and fun and hopeful, and you're feeling all the hype around that. So they're buying at the wrong time, essentially, but that's the price they deserve to buy at, because they didn't have the balls to buy right now,
Yeah.
which is when it feels like the worst time to buy. And
Yeah.
as Rajat said multiple times about his friend not buying because he thinks it's going to go lower, if you constantly think it's going to go lower and you're waiting until that time and you're not buying into the dip, dollar cost averaging and lump summing, again, you don't deserve that price that it's not going to go to, because you think it's going to go there. Yeah. So that's another way to rethink that concept of buying Bitcoin at the price you deserve.
I think people get Bitcoin at the price they understand. That's kind of how I think about it. Because in that sense, Forrest, like even if somebody did buy it at 120K, but if they understood it, they wouldn't sell it now, because if they did sell it, they'd have a loss and then they'd have to buy back in later. So they don't understand it yet. So they actually don't get Bitcoin yet. They're just kind of a placeholder for somebody who does understand Bitcoin, who's going to take their sats from them. But if you bought it at 120K and you understand Bitcoin, then you didn't sell it. And therefore you still have that same amount of sats. So when Bitcoin goes from 80 to 90 to 100 to 120 to 150, you still got that at the price that you understood, because you didn't sell it on its way down. So that's kind of how I think about that aspect of it. It's not really what people deserve. It's they get the sats in their cold storage on the day that they understand what Bitcoin is. And the more conviction they get, the less likely are to be shooken out during days like today.
Yeah.
I like to think of it as it's the base is wherever you first learned about Bitcoin. So let's say, for example, if you first let's say we have kids and they figure out Bitcoin at $1 million, or they first hear about Bitcoin at $2 million. You can't go back in time. You can't buy it at 100K, of course. But let's say, for example, you keep ignoring it, and it goes to 3 million, 4 million, 5 million. You could have bought at 2 million, but you deserve to buy at 5 million because you ignored it and you didn't study it. That's the way that I look at it.
Yeah.
I think
you don't understand it.
Right, because you can't really punish somebody for not being born when
Exactly
it wasn't around, right? But
Wow.
whenever you first learn about it, if you can exchange fiat for it, then you should. But if you don't, that's up to you. That's your decision.
Right. And that decision would likely be made from lack of understanding, even if you've heard about it. Yeah. So I actually do like that. I think deserve is probably the incorrect word there. Understand it is better. Yeah, it does feel harsh.
I do think that deserve is the right way to do it, though, because you deserve it at that point. You
True.
deserve.
That's also true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think it's deserve, and it's a combination of when you understand it. I think it's a combination of both. But I agree with what both of you guys are saying.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Grady Gravy, the man himself. 1933 Gold Confiscation Act equals 2025 U.S. Strategic Reserve. Is it? I don't know. Same thing?
I don't think it's the same thing, but I will just say that we've talked about nation state adoption for a really long time in Bitcoin, right? There was theories in 2020 about nation states buying and all this kind of stuff all the way until now, right? And with that, people have been saying, well, why would they announce it? And I would just say that as well. Like, what is the point of announcing you're buying? The strategic Bitcoin reserve has been introduced through an executive order and exists, and it is solely made up of stolen Bitcoin that the government has stolen from what they deem to be criminals. A lot of that deservingly should go back to customers that were affected from these hacks and different things. We'll see if that happens or not. I don't know. But that is a way to acquire Bitcoin under the radar without announcing a buy and not affecting the price. And there's, again, conspiratorial thinking, but if there's a time where the US wants to revalue their assets and bring the dollar down to its actual value, they will want assets like gold and like Bitcoin to go way up, because it's
Yeah.
not going to affect the cost of living, and it will take pressure off of every other asset out there. So there could be a time where there are announcements around this kind of stuff, and it would cause absolute chaos in the Bitcoin market to the upside.
Yeah, it seems like there's stuff going on behind the scenes. I like all the conspiracy talk today, Forrest, but it seems even with like the 50-year mortgage that they're rolling out right now, like I feel like that's a really good way to stabilize the market a little bit, because if they leave it where they are today, it seems like they're noticing a trend of like defaults and people are going to be in a lot of trouble, or the housing market's going to collapse. Whereas with on the flip side of things, like the other side of this is where they wanted to give everybody like a $25,000 new home buyer credit or something, which just would have drove the price of houses up, which would have made things way worse. So with the 50-year mortgage, it kind of just stabilizes things in a way. And I think that's kind of what you're saying with the gold and Bitcoin too. Without all that pressure going into like the housing market.
Yeah, I mean, they're trying to keep the debt Ponzi scheme alive as long as possible, and they're doing everything they can to do that, which is the 50-year mortgage is part of that, to allow people to sell their homes at the same price. Or, I mean, basically, it's going to be this maybe lag effect, but it's just going to reprice everything up higher. Like the
50.
Yeah, because it's the attempt to control the market by allowing certain debt terms, right? But if there's market participants if they can afford a $2,300 mortgage today, and there's willing buyers at that price, right? Because we're not thinking about the total price of a house doesn't actually really matter. It's about the cost of capital and the availability of that debt and the percentage of your income compared to the cost of that payment to the home, right? That debt payment. So if the metric shifts at all, like if they can push the term out longer, and there's still people being able to afford a $2,300 a month mortgage instead of a $2,000, the house is just going to revalue to that higher price.
Yeah.
So there might be a lag effect within there and a little bit of arbitrage you can do, but that's just a band-aid solution, and it's just more central control, which doesn't make any sense. Like if somebody's willing to lend money at a 50-year term, then they should be able to do that if there's two willing participants. But it would be unregulated, and would be a sort of a informal loan or something that wouldn't be backstopped by the government, so it doesn't happen, right? It's all these things that we believe are the free market are not at all. And they actually, in fact, they changed some sort of loan agreement with cars as well. So they're kind of doing the same thing, because there's been higher amounts of repos for cars, and that's car manufacturing is still a huge part of the economy, and the debt they need to keep alive. They don't need people defaulting, all this kind of stuff. So these are band-aid solutions to just keep the debt Ponzi alive, in my opinion.
Are you standing, Forrest?
Yeah.
Wow. Healthy guy, making us look foolish, Rajat.
I'm basically better than everyone now that I have a standing desk.
I have a standing desk too. I never stand with it though.
Oh, really?
I can raise it. Might not be able to see that, but it's rising.
Oh yeah. You're disappearing.
I saw a comment in here, boys. Well, I want to get through these quickly here. Grady sent another $2. Thanks, Grady. Grady Gravy. U.S. values 1 BTC at 1 million a coin, 37 trillion debt, loses 90% val.
Yeah, so that's another thing, right? Is if all of a sudden, say through the acquisition of Bitcoin, either buying or stealing it through their the policing, if they all of a sudden have like 1 million Bitcoin, like in this example, and then they just revalue, they say this Bitcoin is worth this much, right? We're just saying this Bitcoin is worth $1 million. Then all of a sudden the market will react to that, and it will begin pushing up the price of it.
Which is what they did with gold, right?
That's what they did with gold, and again, back to the previous comment. That's what they did with 6102. They confiscated gold, which was fixed at $25 per ounce, and then once the confiscation was reached the level that they wanted it to, they revalued it to $35 an ounce. So they have all this gold and gold certificates that they could also revalue to whatever they wanted. It doesn't mean that there's a market that they're buying it at the price that they're valuing at. They can just say it's worth that, and then the market can agree or disagree, but there's going to be this magnet towards that valuation.
Yeah.
And then they could, essentially erase the debt, but without having to sell it, because the debt is now relative to this inflated balance sheet that they have, and not a big deal again, right?
Yeah.
This is just my opinion on it, but I think that based on what happened with the gold and how that whole thing played out in the next 100 years, essentially of chaos, I don't think that they'll peg it at $1 million. That just doesn't really seem in line with what they've been talking about and things they've been saying. I think that they know it's going to get there eventually, and they would solve it on its own. And I feel like that would be a much more organic and like welcomed, I guess, way of doing it. Right? It's not like they have to try to do it. In my mind, Bitcoin today is worth $10 million a coin. It's just that people haven't figured that out yet.
Agreed.
I think the reason they would do it, try to speed it up, is if the
debt gets out of control.
Yeah, basically,
Yeah.
if the world starts thinking, this is unsustainable, right? And there's sort of a nuclear option that China has with the amount of bonds they hold. China's been trying to move away from the dollar for decades now. It's going to take decades more if it continues at this rate, to be able to not have as much dollars and dollar connection that they have. I mean, yeah, it's a very interwoven system that we have, and there is the concept that doing it faster could be better, since it just gets worse and worse if they try to do it slowly.
Does it matter though? Like 35 trill, 37 trill, 45 trill, like it's all just numbers in people's head anyways. Like I feel like even if we went parabolic with the debt, which we are right now, we're in the middle of that, the debt spiral, but it's like, I don't know. I just feel like
if they go too slow, people can exit the system and not be left holding the bag.
Yeah.
If they go fast, people are going to be left holding their bonds and their dollars, and those dollars are going to be inflated away, and those holders of those assets will feel the pain that America deserves to feel for having been in that much debt. I mean, America's not alone with that. I mean, Canada's even worse, debt to GDP wise. So I don't mean the American people should feel this, right? But if you're saving in dollars, you unfortunately will, and it could happen really quickly.
Right. Hey, do you guys have George Gammon's number? We should get him on to help us understand economics.
Maybe, get a whiteboard back there with him. Guy loves whiteboards.
The Viscount. I lost faith in alt. Stay with Bitcoin. $1.99. Thank you, the Viscount. And we got some Aussie dollars here, looks like. Thanks for the stream, guys. Just keep DCAing. Just a Black Friday sale for Bitcoin from Australia. Cheers, buddy. Rams, good name.
And that's the bucket that he's filling his Bitcoin up with.
Yes. We should, we've had a lot of back and forth with the chat today, but I feel like this is just some good Bitcoin info. If you DCA over time to a wallet with single BTC address, do you end up with one or multiple UTXOs? Well, number one, you shouldn't be DCA. You should never be sending the amount of Bitcoin to the same receive address. So if you're using a wallet like Tangem or something like that only has a single receive address, get rid of it ASAP. Every time you send Bitcoin from the exchange to your cold storage wallet, you should be using a different address.
Yep. And if your dollar cost average is $5 a day and you're sending it to your even a different receive addresses, you're going to have a billion UTXOs that are all $5. And Jor has famously told his story about doing that exact thing early on in his Bitcoin journey. And eventually you want to consolidate those to larger amounts so that the transaction fee, the mining fee, doesn't percentage-wise eat up the value of that transaction that you're trying to send. You want to have 100, 200, 300, 1 million Satoshis in a UTXOs. So if you're buying in that amount of size, then you could send those over. But yeah, you want to consider UTXO management. And I think we have a few videos about that as well.
Yep. Yeah. I mean, these are actually the live streams that we do. We talk about a lot of different things going on in the world and, go back and forth with the chat. But questions like this is what we spend the happy hour talking about. We can go really in depth into UTXOs, into like why you shouldn't be using a single address to receive Bitcoin. All these different things. These are the kind of topics that we cover in our Maple Bitcoin happy hour. Do you want to bring up that QR code quickly, Rajat, while I'm kind of on the topic here?
Oh yeah.
Big shout out, a couple more shout outs here. I see Cedar Sats over in Noster. He said tuned into YouTube stream for a bit, but had some frequency issues flooding the comments section. Sorry you guys are having to deal with that. Much more relaxing over there.
Noster's just better for everything in general.
It was chaos in YouTube today. Holy man. And we got a couple of zaps too here, boys, that I missed. People sending through the QR code beside Forest Head there. There's quite a few here. We got 500. Said tried to give a friend 500 sats. He said he did not want my Ponzi. Cheers from Raphael.
Wow.
Oh my God. How much regret in 10 years from now.
But everybody understands Bitcoin, right? So
exactly. Yeah, everybody gets it. We had 5,555 sats and said, enjoy the Bitcoin holiday sale. I don't know who that was from, but I'm guessing it was from our friend Sharon. Don't know for sure though. Somebody sent 888 sats and said, love you guys. We got 5,000 sats anonymously, and we got 3,000 said, thanks for all the info. 1,000 sats for each of you.
Nice.
Pretty good, boys.
We'll each be able to buy a Lamborghini with that amount soon.
Soon. Very soon.
Yeah, next year, right?
Probably.
Yeah, there's a couple interesting things. Maybe we should address that single address one a little bit more.
Sure. Yep.
So there's Mozart's Goats here. I'm afraid to send to different addresses without sending a test transaction first to each new address, but then that makes kind of it obvious it's mine. Yeah, that does make it obvious that it's yours. There's a lot more information going on, a lot more connective tissue within the blockchain that can connect you back to that. And it's also talking about quantum as well. If you don't actually send out of that address, it is quantum protected from public-private key pairings. You need to be able to do some test transactions to understand that all of your derived Bitcoin addresses from your XPub are all connected to that XPub, and essentially learn that that's the way it works, and that allows you to have the trust and knowledge that it will work, that you don't have to do test transactions to every single SegWit address that's connected to your XPub. So yeah, I would maybe just look a little deeper into that, do some test transactions so that you know that test transactions receiving is not as important as test transactions sending, by the way. Because sending, you have to sign with your private keys. You could receive to a watch-only wallet that you've reset the wallet, or you've lost your private keys, and you could continue to send to that address no matter what. So make sure you can send out of one of those addresses, and all of those other addresses connected to your XPub will act exactly the same as the one that you tested.
Bingo. Can you run out of receive addresses? I don't think so. Is there a maximum amount on receive addresses per wallet? I don't think so.
No, I don't think so either. I think it's maybe technically, but like it's like next to infinite.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm sure if you had that many, like if you're doing UTXOs properly and you ran out of receive addresses in that wallet from that XPub, you should probably look at diversifying your wallet situation a little bit, because you would have a lot of Bitcoin in one single point of failure there, essentially. So I would say if that's going to be an issue for anybody, then consider getting a different, or a multi-sig, or creating a new one. I mean, it's you want to be diversified, I think, in a lot of different ways in Bitcoin. You don't want to have all of your Bitcoin in one spot. You don't want to have all your Bitcoin on the same exchange to be using, because if it goes down, like we saw last week with the Cloudflare hack, or not Cloudflare, whatever it was, Strike was down for a while. So you want to have a couple of each. You want to diversify your wallet situation, all these different things. So don't ever have it in one spot. I feel like that's a recipe for a disaster zone.
Shout out to the school community. We've mentioned it there. There's some master classes, and one of them is specifically about UTXO management. We go really deeply into that one. You guys can join the school community by scanning the QR code, or you can, we also commented it as well. And you can join 7-day free trial. So you can watch all the master classes. You can binge watch them. They're an hour plus each. We also do weekly happy hours. So another hour live call after this. We do every single week. And it's actually, you can hop on and it's much more intimate. There's like 20 plus people there usually. And we can, you can join with your camera, you can join with your mic, you can ask comments in the chat and 100% get them addressed in there. Because there's too many comments on our live streams here. So yeah,
it's tough, and I think that the one thing that we're pretty proud of with the school community is we have a bunch of lifetime members in there now, and lifetime members are going to be there for the long haul like us, and that's the kind of people that you want to align yourself with, the people who are not worried about the price today, but focused on building the future that they want. And that's what I've seen from that community. And it seems to be getting stronger every single week. So give it a shot. Consider it. Don't look at it like an investment, like a trade-off as you'd have with the Netflix or something. Because when you're watching Netflix, you're literally just wasting your time, and it's a huge opportunity cost. Something like this, it's going to be about the same cost, probably a little bit more. But think about it like an investment. If you're serious about Bitcoin, if you want people to learn from and help learn and collaborate with, and just not leave any holes in your setup. Because again, I kind of mentioned it right off the top of the show here today. I said in the year 2100, which we might not be around, but hopefully our families will still have our Bitcoin. Those 40 years from 2100 to 2140, there's going to be one Bitcoin mined. So don't look at your stack and compare it to the fiat price and say, well, it's only worth that much. No, you're sitting on something significant here. And it's kind of up to you. You got to take on the personal responsibility here. You're the one for your family that was in charge of being here right now. And, whether you want that or not, their responsibility, it's yours. So that's what we want to do. We want to make sure that there's no holes in anybody's setups. We talk about UTXOs for the future. We talk about where to store your keys today. We talk about all these different things. So it's an investment for sure.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. I'll be around for the last block because I'm on the Brian Johnson regimen now.
And you're standing.
Yeah, I'm standing, man.
I think one of the important things that we try to communicate in the community is, let's say, for example, if you have some kind of holdup that's getting you not to buy it, let's say you have 1% of your total portfolio in Bitcoin. One thing that I've noticed is that there are, at least with the people that I do one-on-ones with, I do a lot of one-on-ones with people who end up buying Bitcoin after the call. Usually it's just one thing that's holding them back. It's like, oh, how do I know that my Bitcoin won't be taken from me? Or how do I know that my Bitcoin is secure? Or what's a Bitcoin wallet? Or what's a Bitcoin address? How do I make sure that the exchange can't take my Bitcoin? It's usually one small question that's holding them back from going not all in on Bitcoin. I never tell people to just go straight all in. Even if you want to buy, let's say you want to go from 1% to 5%, 1% to 20%. I had a guy in my community who, after doing a couple of live sessions, he chose to put like 50% of his net worth into Bitcoin.
Wow.
And in the next 10, 15 years, joining those calls, he's not even in the community anymore. He left. But joining the community, the calls is going to reward him literally forever. And that's our goal with this community. Our goal is to make sure that you can confidently buy Bitcoin and you can make your own decision. You can learn from us and you can learn from other people in the community. There are people in the community who know more than us.
Yep. And there's, it's one of those things. It sure helps when we have weeks like this. It sure helps to have people around that you can talk to about it, and people that have your back. And whether it's a scam that people are reporting or whatever it may be, like you want to stay in tune with this stuff, and you can't really rely on Google or Twitter or Reddit or anything like that. It's like, you got real people in here, and one day it's going to turn into something much bigger than this. And the price in fiat terms of this community is going to go up forever. So it's just a good idea. If you've been considering, I think, take the leap. You can always join. And if you don't like it, if it's not for you, you can cancel. But I mean, these are the kind of questions that we go through in the happy hour. Like we might spend 10 minutes talking about this, whereas on a live stream, it's like bang, 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 bang on to the next thing. But it's a good place to go a little bit deeper into things. So hopefully, if you don't join us today, you'll join us at some point in the future. You're going to have all these live streams to go through. The price might be a little bit higher, but we are going to jump over there right now. So hopefully you'll join us. So with that in mind, boys, thanks for another great one. I knew it was going to be a little bit spicy today and different than usual, but this is what it's all about, man. This is why we're here.
Yeah.
As Vladdy Guerrero Jr. would say, we're built for this. So anyways, happy Friday, everybody. Hope you all have a great weekend. Thanks for being here. Thanks for joining us. And we continue hitting all-time highs in the chat and comments. And hopefully we'll see you next week or in the happy hour. So thanks, fellas. Talk to you on the next one.
See you guys.